guys, welcome to another episode of Minutes with M&M. I'm Nissan, this is Mena, and we're happy to have you back. This week we're going to be talking about another favorite show of ours.
Favorite.
If we're talking about it, we like it. Ish. We're going to make, like, if we make it clear that we are like hate watching or we're just here to bash the show, then you would know. But this is a favorite. We enjoy the show. You don't like the show?
I like it, but favorite is a stretch based on what these characters have done.
Fair, but like, you know.
Okay, it's in the top half, or if in fact it divide shows into top half and bottom half, it's in top half.
Fair. Okay, yes. One of our top half shows. And just like that. This is a sequel to Sex and the City. So if you haven't seen Sex and the City, it's like a HBO show that happened like in the...
I like how you're explaining Sex and the City. If you don't know what Sex and the City is, you need to go outside more. That's it. I'm not even explaining. Let them be
Some
confused.
people haven't. Okay, I need to, no discrimination on this channel, but I'm still judging you. But yeah, it's a sequel to it. They're in their 50s now, and it's called And Just Like That, and it's just basically a continuation of like, same concept. Yeah, their lives. Yeah, we have a lot of thoughts about this season.
You know what? I just want to give a disclaimer. We get it. Writing a show 20 years later, things have changed. The times have changed. Things have to be adapted for. That being said, when we complain, I don't want to hear, oh, they're 50 now, they've grown. Because even if you've grown, you should still have some semblance of the person you once were. Mm-hmm. And if you're watching this, you know exactly who we're talking about right now. But you know what? Let's start with, I guess the main thing, the beginning of the show. The catalyst for the show is, spoiler, Big dies. And on one hand, in the real life aspect, that was very lucky for them because there were some other scenes shot for later in the show that contained Big, but because of allegations that came out towards Chris North, they didn't show them. So like, they're kind of lucky that they killed him off, because imagine he was supposed to be alive and continuing and they didn't want him on the show anymore.
Yeah.
But from an in-universe perspective, how fucking dare you? Like, why can't Carrie just get to be happy with the man that she loved and, let's be clear, fought for so long? Like, she can't just be with him? No.
She was with him for 10 nice years, right?
10 years is nothing. Like, in the grand scheme of things, 10 years is so tiny. And I'm glad that she didn't have kids by choice, but it's just doubly painful because she really feels like she's alone now. Like, all of her friends have partners and kids except for Sam, who's gone, or Samantha rather. So it just feels very doubly lonely. So that really hurt. Like, I don't know, I cried. Like,
I did.
When she was yelling John, like, she calls him John, and it's that's how you know it's real. She didn't call him Big, she said John, and I'm like,
Carrie was going through it throughout the season. Like, Carrie's entire vibe was just like, you guys are just like babbing. Like, you guys, like, I have bigger issues to deal with. Like honestly, like, I liked her vibe because she honestly was just like, she didn't care about whatever Miranda was trying to do or whatever. Like, she was just like, Big has died. No, honestly, because that would be me. Like, every 5 minutes, trying to complain, I'm like, Big died.
No, facts. Because you can't come and complain, oh, my husband's being kind of annoying. Oh, that's great, you still have a husband. Mine died. Like, I don't know. Again, I think we've talked about this in a few videos where we talk about loss. Like, we've never really lost people extremely close to us and had to deal with big grief. But the idea that my life basically comes to a standstill and people expect me to behave normally does not make sense. So, no, I'm falling apart and you just have to deal with it.
I feel like she handled it so well. Mm-hmm. Like, I am like, okay, emotions. But Carrie was not my favorite character of Sex and the City.
Girl.
Okay, she was all over the place and her love life was also all over the place, and just like that, like, season 1 really showed me how much she has grown as a person, and like, just as a friend, she really grew into this like really like mature, solid person. And like, I could see that because me, I would have been on the floor. She was just like, okay, I'm going to search for funeral homes now. I'm like, Big dies. What are you saying? Like, she's like, yeah, maybe I'm going to move into a new place. I'm like, let me go to work. I'm like, what are you doing right now?
It was so sad, but I like the idea that she was trying to fill her life because without him, there was so much emptiness.
Yeah.
That being said, this is such a small thing, but like right at the beginning when she's planning stuff and Charlotte is like breaking down and crying and the funeral director's telling her story and like Carrie has to comfort her, and then Charlotte's like, and now you're comforting me. I'm gonna punch you in the face. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't have time to manage your feelings. Especially when she was like, oh, it's my fault because I made you come. It is your fault. But what am I supposed to say when you say that? Like, am I supposed to say, yes, you killed my husband? Like, can you just Charlotte's a
She
lot.
really made it about her.
Oh
like,
my God.
Like, Charlotte is always going to be Charlotte, but like, have some emotional intelligence. Just like, have some empathy. Like, understand what, like, and then she got upset because Carrie didn't want her around anymore. Like, she was calling Miranda, she was calling like Stanford. Is his name Stanford?
Yeah, Stanford.
Yeah, she was calling them instead to come and hang out because Stanford was always going to crack a joke, and she got in her feelings because she was coming to, I guess, deliver flowers, and she was like, wait, are you guys meeting without me? And I'm like, so now you're taking us back to high school. Like, why can't you just let it go? Now you're making me feel bad because, and then Carrie had to explain that, yeah, it's because she knows that you're going to get too emotional, and like Stanford is always going to crack a joke and be like more like lighthearted. And she started crying again.
No, like it's I don't honestly, but it does show that one, Carrie has grown, because I feel like Carrie in Sex and the City would not have dealt with that as maturely.
Yeah.
And I know we're dragging on Charlotte, but I will say I think Charlotte and Miranda did a lot for Carrie in the way they could, like taking turns sleeping in her bed and spending time with her and like really being for her, being there for her.
Well, Miranda.
No, at the beginning. At the beginning.
Okay.
At the beginning. Only in the beginning.
Because
don't get it twisted.
Because let's get into it. Now, your best friend in the whole wide world has not only lost her husband, but now has gone through surgery. So she can't walk, she can't go to pee by herself, and it is your turn to take care of her. But what are you doing? You are having sex with her co-worker, with her boss, in the kitchen, and she's calling you. She's like, I need to pee, and you're just like, no, the sex is so like I can't hear anything anymore. Like, what is wrong with you?
On a very serious note, I just feel like that couldn't have been good. Like, you were touching food before you put your hand in my pants. But that's not the point here. It's the selfishness. It's the utter disregard.
What are you pee on her bed and just pee in a bottle?
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
like, if you're not here to help, why are you here? I have money. I could get a nurse or an aide, but you were doing, I'm a good friend. And now I'm seeing you cheat in my house while I pee on my bed. Like, thank you for this experience. Wow. Great. What am I supposed to do that?
No, there was just so much that Carrie took so well because, like, she just like was like, bro, my partner has died. Like, I don't even have the energy to be angry at this situation anymore.
Like, focusing on Carrie, the biggest thing, obviously, other than dealing with the loss of Big and like kind of becoming a person after you've lost the love of your life, is kind of where her career is. And I have questions. Why is Carrie on a podcast? Also, why does
She's bored.
And there's nothing else to do with her boredom?
I don't know. She wrote a bunch of books and now she has money and she's bored.
Okay, let me be clear. The issue is not a podcast. It is that podcast. Carrie Bradshaw didn't have better options than this very poorly run, not funny podcast. Because let's be clear, Che and Eddie are not funny. No, I don't. If you watched And Just Like That and you laughed at any jokes that Eddie or Che made, please comment in below and let us know what they were, because I can't relate.
Yeah, that was a choice.
Choices.
That was a choice. That's all I'm going to say. All I'm going to say is the writers fixed up towards the end by giving her her own podcast called Sex and the City to run by herself, because whatever that was, it was not.
I feel like we could have started from there. It could have already been her podcast, and maybe Che was her employee instead of.
What would Che be doing?
Babe, I don't know.
That's why they needed a way to introduce Che, but like maybe you should have just made Miranda meet her randomly.
Like, maybe Che is the bartender that doesn't drink or something, since Miranda had her whole alcoholic. So before we move on to another character, I do want to talk about, we've talked about how Carrie has held up so well. I do appreciate that her one kind of mental break was when she found out that Big left $1 million to his ex-wife, and she was just like being a crazy person, pretty much, you know, stalking her, trying to get into rooms, trying to talk to her through any means possible. You made a comment, maybe not on this video, about how like it was her way of trying to process the grief without actually processing the grief. And I get it though, because although I think I wouldn't assume Big was cheating, I think it makes sense to like just dwell on this one thing instead of thinking of the fact that Big is dead.
I don't think she assumed it actually. She never mentioned cheating. She was just like, this is just a thing that I didn't know about. Fair. And then she was finding out so much. Like, she saw a picture of a dog or a puppy in his wallet, and she's like, Big had a dog. And like, so she was just like, did I even know this man I was married to? And she decided to spiral, and there was a whole thing.
But yeah, that was her. And there was a bit of a time jump at some points in the show, but I did like that when she got to dating and she went on the date with the man who was also grieving. Just kind of seeing how like being when you get past a certain age, it's more likely to meet more widows and widowers and people who have lost people in their lives, and everybody isn't on the same page. Like, just because we both experienced loss doesn't mean we're passing through it in the same way. But yeah, I think maybe that's the first, and I know it wasn't supposed to be comforting, but it was the first kind of comfort I've ever seen in a show about like losing your spouse, that like there will be other people who've actually experienced the same thing as you. So maybe your friends all have their partners, but you know, they're grief support groups or they're just friendly people.
I don't know how I feel about her agent pushing her to get back out there, but
I didn't like her agent. We're gonna get to her when we talk about side characters. I really hope they switch up the writing for her because she's a great actress. But
whose agent? Like who?
Wait, which agents are we talking about?
Her book agent.
Oh my god, I was talking about her real estate agent.
Yes, let's talk about that as well. But yeah, I didn't like that her book agent pushed her, because she was basically saying like the entire book that she just wrote was sad and she needs to give her writers some hope. You can't go from writing like a love romance story from Sex and the City to like it's all bad now. So they basically pushed her out to like go back out there and like maybe write like an epilogue that hey, love still exists out there. But she was like, I'm not ready, but fine.
I dislike it on a personal level, but from a business place, I understand where the book agent was coming from. And it's one of those things where, like, in the show, they make it okay, because in the end, she did realize that there is, you know, the sun rises tomorrow. Season 2, Aiden, cough, cough, who knows? But in terms of that, I see, like, when I was watching, I was just like, oh my god, her husband just died, leave her alone.
Yeah, I'm like, what's the rush to publish a book now?
I mean, maybe this is when the profits will be up, and, you know, publishing is a dying industry, you know? Maybe her own boss is saying, you need to drop this writer, and she's looking for how to keep Carrie's book going out.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just gave a whole background to a character that really didn't deserve it. Maybe she's just a bitch, like, I don't know. And then about her, I was about to talk about her real estate agent. Before I say that, it is very apparent that when they came back to do And Just Like That, the writers, production, everyone said, guys, we need people of color. We cannot repeat the mistakes. And so they have the real estate lady, they have Black Charlotte, they have Professor. Like, they're like, look, see, we talk to non-whites, we're good people. And I'm not even dragging it. It's fine, it makes sense. There should be more people of color. I do think some integrations were smoother than others, but that's besides the point, because talking about Carrie's real estate agent, I did not enjoy certain things that she did in certain conversations. So when she was having a conversation with Carrie and like she got mad at Carrie for mentioning big and kind of being like, oh, at least you had love, I'm alone kind of thing. And it was just like a very insensitive thing to say to someone.
It was, but she prefaced it with like, what I'm about to say might be insensitive. Like this was a conversation that happened after she like one of the movers actually broke a frame and a picture that Big used to keep by his bedside table. And like Carrie was just like, no, first of all, Seema was like, oh, don't worry, I'm just gonna get a new frame. And like, she's like, you don't understand, like he touched that frame, like it was by his bedside table and like it meant a lot. So first of all, she apologized and she was like, hey, like what I'm about to say might come across insensitive, but like with a woman my age, I've been searching for love. And she was referencing, like she was basically responding to something that Carrie said that made her feel somehow. Carrie said like, oh, like at your age, like it's good that you're still out there trying, like, and she said it in a way that sounded a little bit like, good for you, you're still out there. So she was basically saying that like her response to that is like, I want to have what you had with Big, so I'm going to keep searching for it.
My issue with that is twofold. One, it kind of felt like she was saying, okay, yes, I said something mean to you now, but you said something mean to me before, and it's like, what? Like,
I don't know. It felt like a very like nice, respectful, like adult conversation the way it was put.
I feel like it would have been adult if she had brought it out at any other time other than when Callie, at any other time other than when Carrie is rightfully being upset, because it kind of feels like you're deflecting, even though you said sorry. And it was also like, yes, I understand that the way the comment came across wasn't great, but the implication that Carrie meant anything other than like, not even good for you, but more like you're in a better place than I am right now because you're still out here dating and I'm like dealing with grief. It felt like an uncharitable way to read what Carrie said. So I think if she had responded when Carrie said it, I'd have been like, oh, that's fine. But just the whole dialogue.
I don't think she assumed that, but I'm pretty sure she has heard that a lot.
I guess
like
it's
in
just
life. So I don't think she assumed that Carrie meant it that way, but she was just saying that like a lot of people say that, but like she still is going to keep searching because she's looking for a love like that.
I guess it just really rubbed me the wrong way, and I think it comes from a place where like I expect everyone in Carrie's life to have some tact around Big's death, and everything that involved Carrie selling her place, and it was a bit frictiony. So I was just very sensitive to Carrie there, but maybe it was me doing too much. Other than that, I think she has a lot of potential to be a good ad. Like I said, when I thought we were talking about her earlier, I really like the actress. She's very strong, and she seems like closest to what could be a Samantha replacement since Samantha is gone. She's out there, she's brave, she's bold, she has sex with men. So let's see how that goes. But let's go to Miranda. We're gonna drag her. Like, I'm not even gonna, there's nothing to say. She's not well in the head. Okay, let's go.
Let's start by let's ignore the thing with Chief just for a few seconds. Why are you friends with your professor on that level? Why is she telling you about her struggles with like fertility? What kind of like is that a normal like now she's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna give you your grade tomorrow, but then today we're having lunch and I'm telling you this. Like, does the black lady not have any other friends? What's happening?
They want to integrate her into the group, and this is how they saw to make it happen.
Does it have to be a professor? Does it have like? I love how they just brought in Black Charlotte from nowhere. Like they could have done that. Like they didn't have to. It just felt so weird to me. I'm like, why are you telling your student all of this? Like, don't you understand that this is like the wrong dynamic?
I mean, I think it started from like Miranda trying to like cozy up to her, and like it's supposed to become an organic friendship. Since Miranda has left the program, maybe now that somehow she's gonna have to be back in New York, right? Like that's my assumption. There's no way this babe is gonna be on the show, but not on the show. So maybe now she's gonna come back, and they're no longer teacher and student, but they're friends. So they just wanted to have a starting place for this is how we became friends.
You know, Miranda left a once in a lifetime internship to go to LA to
stand in the audience and clap.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, like what's going on? Like what's actually, and then what's wrong with her child? What's wrong with her son? Like what's wrong with that?
I feel like the writers made a lot of decisions on Miranda's character based on the real life actress's life, and I also feel like they didn't care how much it contradicted what we've seen in the past, because Miranda loved her career, like, and she was good at it, and she was driven, and yes, she cared about things, but like her career was important to her, and the fact that she even went back to school to do something is supposed to show us like how much she still cares about improving and doing better and striving to be excellent in her field. So what the heck is going on? Like, you get a once-in-a-lifetime dream offer that you want, by the way. This wasn't even like, you know, sometimes it shows like, oh, I've never heard of this grant before and they gave it to me. But no, this is something she was interested in. And it's like, am I supposed to think it's romantic that you're running away to follow someone that's, first of all, I don't even want to say that there is no chemistry.
There is no chemistry.
But what is happening?
And do you know the most disrespectful part? Like, if you want to do something cutthroat, do it with your chest. Because she was now trying to say like Steve was this, oh, we don't have sex anymore, our love life is this. Like, if first of all you're in a relationship with two people, right? Mm-hmm. You can also initiate sex when you want it. Mm-hmm. You can say let's go to a date. You can tell Steve, hey, this is what I want to do, and I'm pretty sure Steve will listen to you. Mm-hmm. Steve is not going to magically know whatever you're thinking to him. He's like, yeah, Miranda wants to sit here and like eat a snack with me and watch TV, but he doesn't know that you're out here saying, well, Steve is like this, Steve is like this. And then she was like, yeah, I tried to revive our sex life, but it didn't go well. We were cooking in the kitchen, and then you were like, quick, Steve, finger me. And he's like, let me wash my hand first. You were like, oh no.
First of all,
what's going on?
Why do you want a yeast infection, babe? And why are you mad at me for trying to make it stop happening? Second of all, it's not working is a you problem, because Steve was ready to go. Steve, yeah. And that actually stressed me out, because the idea, like, it then looked like Steve has tried to initiate before and not succeeded, because up to that scene, it sounded like, oh, we haven't had sex because neither of us is trying. But the way he was immediately receptive to the idea of having sex, I wanted to keep going, and she shut it down. I'm just like, I don't think Steve's not having sex with you because he doesn't want to have sex. And you know what? If your like libido is lower, that's fine. But what you said, like, we've been like this for years and you were fine. You didn't bring it up. You didn't comment. You were fine with the dry spell until Shay touched your vagina with pepper. And now you're like, oh, I've seen the light. What? No.
Girl, just buy a vibrator. Like,
actually.
I don't get it. Like,
honestly, I relate to Charlotte, that the whole if you need to have a midlife crisis, because what?
Dye your hair for Charlotte to call you out. Charlotte was like, girl, you're not progressive enough for this. Like, you're not progressive enough. Because Charlotte was dealing with her own problems. Like, her child was like, call me Rock now. And you want to be like, I'm having an affair. You know, Charlotte is so traditional. So to her, that was like the most abominable thing that you could have told her right now. Steve being like a darling person and being nice to her. Just here like, yeah, I'm going to leave him.
No, you make me so sad because that scene where Steve is like talking to Carrie and asking like, it's like this man legit thought he was going to spend the rest of his life with you and doesn't know what has changed. And like, nobody knows, like even your friends don't understand what's going on with you right now. And again, it's one of those things that, oh, we're doing this 20 years later, but it makes me really mad because we've seen the Sex and the City movies. Like they had the whole thing with Steve cheating and them choosing to get back together. Like I really hate that we've seen all of this because it just makes Miranda's behavior seem that much more insane. Like you wanted to be with this man, because let's be clear, when I watched the original Sex and the City, I thought that she was too good for him and I didn't want her to get with him, but you chose him. This is who you want. You guys had the baby and then got back together. Like you guys have quote unquote made it through. Like your love is so strong. And now I'm supposed to just root for you because you're discovering yourself and your sexuality in your older age, which is great and all. But I feel like the writer should have either found a way to separate it out, that, you know, have her end the relationship with Steve first for whatever reason. Maybe she's not into him anymore. Because those jokes about him going deaf, babe, that's a disability issue. Like, why is that funny to you that he can't hear anymore?
And now he's alone.
Like, so either they should have had that relationship end, either Steve ends it or Miranda ends it. They realize, you know, we're not meant to be. Like, it can be the dead bedroom, and then, you know, a couple episodes later she meets Che, she feels a spark and she's like, wow, it's been a long time. Like, it wouldn't give them chemistry, but storyline wise it would make it easier to root for this pairing, because let's be clear, Che is the worst written character that has ever been on. Like, what is going on?
What a waste of talent.
Sarah Ramirez is so talented.
What a waste.
Like, Kelly Torres is one of my favorite characters on Grey's Anatomy.
My absolute fave.
I was so excited to hear.
I'm so upset at you guys. The writers, oh no. I saw that she was gonna be in
And Just Like That.
And Just Like That, and I was so excited, but I just don't know where they took the character.
Like, I just don't get the writing, because okay, Che is a comedian. I can get with that. I like funny people. Where are the jokes? Or like, or even like this idea, like, first of all, how old is Che supposed to be? Because someone in their 40s shouldn't be acting like Che's, because Che gives me 25-year-old that just left college energy. But like, you're too grown for, I don't know.
She's supposed to be this like cool person, like all rules out, like lives their life by their own terms. And I know that, like, yes, that's probably what Miranda admires about them, but like, it's just not done well at all. Like, it's like, she's not a funny comedian, so why are they flying out to LA for a show?
Also, like, even the little thing, like, everything that Che did was just over the top. Announcing that they were moving to another place by singing the song. Sarah Ramirez, fantastic voice. What's going here? Or like when they were like flirting by like shotgunning, like so Che would like blow smoke into Miranda's mouth and it was supposed to be hot. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, it's just, I don't know. I see the vision of what Miranda wanted, and I could see, you know, being a late in life person discovering your sexuality could have been a really strong storyline. Even for Miranda, like, it could have worked, even though they did have a storyline in Sex and the City where she tried to date a woman and was like, I'm not a lesbian. But you know what? Maybe she figured it out now, and it could have been done so much better if, one, Che was written differently. And my word here is written, because I believed in Sarah Ramirez's skills. So it is the right thing I'm blaming. And two, if they had chosen to get to that point at a different way. And actually, three, if they hadn't escalated everything in an insane way, why is she dropping her job for this person? Like, it's making it harder for me to root for Che, because all I'm seeing is someone that's helping Miranda derail her life.
I don't know. I feel like someone like Miranda is someone that, like, loves drama. I feel like it was, you know, she's a sneaky one, because in Sex and the City we thought it was Carrie with the drama and all of that, but Miranda would always get bored when things are steady. That's it. That's actually what I see, because like that's what I saw signs of that, like with Sex and the City, how she was always on and on with Steve and she would always find one problem or the other. But I thought, like you said, I thought they had pushed through all of that. And now it's like she's fabricating a problem with her marriage that doesn't exist. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure if she finds out that Steve cheated or something, it will be like a whole thing, and she's gonna still want him, and she's gonna feel like, oh, Steve, why did you cheat? So like, the problem is you are bored with your life. You don't know who you are, and like you're bringing other people along, and you're dropping them when you're tired. Like, is that fair?
I don't even know that she would take him back, but I do agree with you. Like, if after she met Shay, but before she was like, ooh, I'm with Shay, if Steve had been the one to cheat, Miranda would have flown off the handle and expected her friends to be on the same page as her. So I hate it. I hate it. Nothing about the decisions that they've made with Miranda, including her inability to relate with her professor without being weird about race. If it was Charlotte, I'd be fine, but Miranda is stuttering and, oh no, I didn't mean it in that way. Seriously? Miranda? Like, no.
You saved me from a robbery, and the first thing you're going to ask is, I didn't know if I should step in. Like, you said, like, you don't like white savior bullshit. Like, was that a white savior moment? I'm like, I was getting robbed.
And like, that's what I mean by writers. Like, who wrote that scene? Who wrote that dialogue? I was like, oh God, so woke. Because I don't understand. No. I feel like we're not alone in this. I saw a lot of commentary that was not happy with how Miranda was written in season 1. I'm hoping that this means that the writers took a step back and said, how can we make this more palatable to the fans? Because let's be clear, it's not easy to have fans from 20 years ago showing back up to support your products. So maybe listen to their feedback. That's all I'm going to say. I have no good comments about Miranda. There's nothing that I'm like, good job. Even her son having sex in her house and her and Steve being unable to say anything about it. Boo. What's
her alcohol problem?
She's an alcoholic now, which is like fine. People can develop, and honestly in the pandemic, people did drink more, but it's just, I don't know. The whole thing just kind of seemed like they're like, Miranda's life is a mess and now she has to fix herself, but everything is going down.
Yeah.
It was just very depressing. Anyway, Charlotte. I don't actually have a lot of negative things to say about Charlotte, which is impressive. Good job, writers. I know I just dragged you, but
No. I feel like they knew that we had our fill of annoying Charlotte from the original TV show. So they were like, okay, let's make this more about her supporting her kids. And I loved it so much.
Yeah. Honestly, I love her and her husband. I love that Harry and her are still cute, that he still loves her, that they're a unit. I'm just like, thank God. Because we have Miranda out here destroying her love. Big is dead. So at least we have one couple standing strong, and I really appreciate that. And then just like kind of being together. It's also like, it's nice to see her kids a little bit older after how hard she tried to have them. Although I didn't love the whole miracle baby they gave her after everything, but that's besides the point. I think it's fantastic that like, and this is one of the pros of having a show run so long, that like we can see what Lily and Rock are up to. Like, they're actually real people with their own wants and their own desires, and seeing Charlotte kind of struggle to be a mom after, because in her head, even like, and we see it kind of with her first marriage before Harry's, like, she thought everything would be easy. She'd get married to a wealthy man, she'd have all these babies, they'd all be perfect, and real life hasn't turned out necessarily that way, even though her life is great, by the way. Charlotte has nothing to complain about, but I do kind of like her taking a step back and being like, oh, what I thought being a mother was going to be and what it is isn't entirely the same. Like, yeah, I have one perfect child who does everything exactly right, and I have a child that's like not living the way I thought it would be. Although yeah. I kind of wish, I don't know, I kind of wish they had flipped it around, only because I do think there's still going to be drama with Lily like in the upcoming season. So I'm like, bro, are you really going to have 2 kids that are raising your high blood pressure?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said. Charlotte is just that kind of person who always dreamed of being a mom. Like, that's, you know, when people say, yeah, I dream of getting to this level in my career, Charlotte is like, I dream of being a mom. So Charlotte is just out here living her dream, and she's just taking whatever like life gives her, and she's taking it on the chin, and she's adapting, and she's like being flexible, and she's learning, and she's basically like, okay, what's the best way I can parent right now? Like, what does she need? What do they need? You know, like all of that stuff. And I'm really proud of her, because like, I know some people like, I hate when I see TV shows like people just whine for years about wanting to parent, and then maybe their child has autism, and like they're just like, no, I can't deal with this anymore.
It's like, no, this is what you signed up for.
This is what you want. Like, you don't always get the cards that you're dealt, like that you want to be dealt. So like, I really like that she's just adjusting, because it was actually a lot. Like, it was actually a lot.
I just liked it, because even like you with bar mitzvah and everything, like honestly, I think Charlotte has shown growth. Like all of them have grown. It's just that I don't like the way Miranda grew. But Charlotte in Sex and the City would have absolutely like flipped out and taken forever to get to where she needs to get to. But like, I like the idea that over the years we haven't seen her. She's learned that being a mom does mean being flexible, and also like, I can't take a month to whine over this because I need to like get onto it right away. Also, Harry's just funny, so just shout out to you. Although random penis scene.
I think I have blocked it out.
Oh, when she was gonna give him head and then her kid came in. And
I didn't see it. I don't think they showed it.
I'm pretty sure they showed something, but it wasn't his real penne.
I didn't see it. So
but HBO. The only thing.
Wait, question. Whose side are you on? The tennis argument?
I don't know, because I think I'm on Harry's side.
Same. It's not hard to say sorry.
Really?
Like, I say sorry when I bump into strangers on the street.
You're
and
Canadian.
I know that, like, Charlotte she brought up a point of like, women are always apologizing.
Oh,
you hit me. I fell down. I'm your husband. The list, like, even if you were not even the one, like, even if I wasn't the one that did that, if I saw my husband on the floor, I'd be like, oh my God, sorry, like, are you okay? Like, she's just like, yeah, no, I'm not apologizing for that. It was a game. I'm like, what?
No, like, it's funny because it's like, that's so mean, Charlotte. Be nice to your husband.
Yeah, and like, they had this argument going on and on and on. Whenever Harry sees Charlotte apologize, she's like, oh, okay. It was so easy for you to say sorry to that person, but me, my own, still haven't said sorry. Okay.
And then Black Charlotte, as like literally because they refer to her that way in the show. Again, someone that is an actress that I love and I think has a ton of potential. And I also think the little I've seen of her and her husband made me laugh. Also, I love her husband. Shout out to Hamilton. But I think that if next season they just go in the direction of just separating her and Charlotte just a little bit, not in interactions, but in personalities, because the whole, they're exactly the same. Okay, we get it. Please let her be her own person. Like, let's learn some more about her parenting, because, there's some crumbs there about what her dynamic with her mother-in-law is and the difficulties that she has, because she's like Charlotte and she wants everything to be perfect. But again, I think potentially a very strong addition. For all the new characters, I'm giving them grace. It's been one season for them. It's been 20 years for the other characters. So even when they do weird things, we have so much to like lean back on. So I'm really hoping the second season gives us some more. Because even now that they're bringing back Aiden, like, all of us know so much about Aiden. He was in the shows. He was in one of the movies. Like, there is so much versus any new love interest that they might bring in. It's an entirely blank slate for us to get attached to, and that's not easy. So shout out to all the new people who have to make their own place in this show and in this like universe.
Yeah, let's talk about how Miranda is a horrible friend. Who didn't accompany Carrie to Paris to spread Big's ashes? Because why? Because she was going to LA to clap.
And like, you could have just come to Paris with me first and then gone to LA. Like, this was not an either or situation. You could have just supported me, your best friend, who was mourning her dead husband.
I don't even have words, because like, what is her plan?
My babe doesn't have a plan. She's following Che. Does Che know that you're following her? No. Did Che ask you to follow her? Nope. Like, Che's whole situation is Che's gonna be on stage and they're gonna look down and see Miranda, then they're gonna be like, what are you doing here? I didn't ask you to leave your whole life behind. I didn't ask you, like, you just left your kid? Like, I don't know.
And you know what? Che did not know that Miranda was married. They just assumed that, like, Miranda was in an open relationship. Yeah. But when they found out, they basically flipped out, because they were like,
you're a lying liar who has made me a cheater.
Did you think I was just cheating with you? Like, what did you think this was?
Honestly, Che has kernels of like strong character underneath the rubbish that is the first thing you see. No, seriously, because like they have integrity and like they have like a strong self a strong sense of self. They are great at their career, allegedly. Like, there is stuff to build off of there. It's just, I feel like the way they've gone about it was just very weird.
And then towards the end of the season, Carrie is kissing her producer. So I guess she has moved on.
Well, I mean, it's been a while. It's not
been a year. You better mourn me for 5 years.
I don't know. Carrie is young, but she's not young. So if my husband died when I was 30, sure, I can wait 10 years to date again because I'll be 40. If you died at 50, time is walking out. Men die young.
Time to do what?
To find the next partner that will be with me till I die.
To do what?
So I can have dinner with somebody when I come home at night.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because I feel like even at 30, you can say, oh, I haven't started my life yet. I want, blah, blah, blah. But at 50, what are you rushing for?
Wow.
What are you rushing for?
Did you guys hear that? Miss Anne hates old people. That's what I just heard
That's not what I said. I'm just like, why? Like, I would have preferred to even see her with the math teacher a lot more. Because they even had multiple dates and, like, they could relate with, like, their loss. But all of a sudden, you are crushing on someone who's producing. You're allowed to have crushes, I guess. But to me, I don't know. I guess I didn't really feel that time had passed.
I mean, I think it's a mix of, like, they wanted a closed, open ending. So, like, if they didn't get renewed for season 2 and it ended there, it's like, okay, Carrie is open to dating again. This is what's going on with Miranda, everything. But it's open enough that now that there's a season 2, they can be like, oh, we went on a date and they didn't work out, or they can build into a stronger relationship. But it was kind of ending on a chapter of hope, because imagine the show ended with her being like, yes, I just can't date, and then we get renewed for season 2. It's just really sad. I like the idea of, like, Carrie's out there and putting herself out there again.
Maybe 5 years later. Like, they just, just on the screen, 5 years
That's
later.
Ridiculous.
I don't know. 5 is a little bit much, but 1 year personally would be too soon for me.
I don't know. Everybody moves at different speeds. Some people are remarried 3 months after their partner dies. That's crazy.
You don't love your partner.
Facts. But yeah, season 2 is out very soon. Very excited to watch it. Hopefully the writers have taken all the notes into consideration. If not, we will be back with complaints at the end of season 2. So writers, beware. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let us know in the comments what you think. Did you really like the season? Did you really like the direction Miranda went in, and you think we're being too harsh? If so, why? Like, what did you like? Let us know what you agree with, what you disagree with, and what you'd like to see us talk about. Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next week. Bye.